Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Daf Nun Beis Amid Aleph, and Kedarkai, we're in a tremendous digression. The common denominator is Mefei Tikkun Olam. So the Mishnah was discussing is going to be the Mishnah discussing apotropos. An apotropos is a person that is appointed in charge. There are three types. There's one that seems to be a little self-appointed, one appointed by the parent, or one appointed by Bezdin. Says the Mishnah, Yisayimim shesamchu etzo balabayis, a yasam that is saimich next to a balabayis. What does that mean? Says Rashi, lasais al piv, v'leinismalu apotropos. He was not appointed. Loimi aviyam v'leimi Bezdin. He was kind of self-appointed. Afilu ki apotroposu. In other words, he's a good Samaritan who is taking care of these children. These Yisayimim, he's taking care of them. And so what he does through the din of apotropos would work. Or the father, before he died, appointed them an apotropos. Chayiv lasa periseya. He'd be chayiv to take off Trumas Amaisa from the kids. He'd be chayiv to take off Trumas Amaisa from the kids. Apotropos shemineu avi Yisayimim. An apotropos that was appointed by the father of the Yisayimim, Yishava. He has to swear at the end of his reign, at the end of his job, that he didn't take from them, and Mineu Bezdin lo Yishava, but Bezdin not, because we're scared that if Bezdin would make the person swear, no person would want to be an apotropos. You know, again, it was like you said yesterday, a person would not go ahead and pick up a mitzvah; he'd have to swear. It's another sushtel to the parak, right? So over here as well, a person would have to swear, and he would never take the job. So according to the Tanakama, appointed by father, yes. Appointed by Bezdin, no. Abishal says the opposite. He says the opposite. He says that if it's appointed by Bezdin, then you don't have to swear. Appointed by the father, you have to swear. Okay, we'll see the whole Gemara. So the first thing of the Mishnah was that the apotropos can separate. Apotropos can separate Trumas and Maisa from what for the kids. Now this is problematic because it says in the Torah. It says, Atem. It says, the pasuk says, Ki tarimu gam atem, shumas Hashem mikom asosechem. When you will separate the words, also gam atem, you again, shumas Hashem mikom asosechem. So this atem is stating the following: Atem v'lu shutafin. You can separate for yourself. You can't separate for your partner. Atem v'lo yarisin. You could separate you for loya risin and not what and not sharecroppers. So if your sharecropper can't separate from you or you for him. Atem v'loya apotropin, and this is what we need. You can separate, but apotropos can't separate for you, and that's the kasha. And v'loya toyer mesheina shaloi, and nor someone who's being Torah something that doesn't belong to him. Rashi brings two pshatim. The first one being this is a summary statement. All these have in common is that you can only take off your own. In all these cases, it's not your own, right? Whether it's the oris, whether it's yishutif, whether it's your apotropos, in all the cases you're being tired. So this is the reason. Matam, what's the reason? Is because in all these cases it's not yours. That's the bottom line. The kasha is that what, right? Our Mishnah says you could, and here you have a kedushin saying not. It says more like kasha. I'm like kasha. Kan lahachol kan lo niach. If you're going ahead and you need to eat, and the only way you could eat is by tithing it, being mafresh, then you can go ahead and do it. If you're going ahead and taking it off to separate, then what? Then to put away. You're putting it away, you're storing it away. So put it away in its untithed state, and when the time comes to eat it, then you'll tithe it. So our Mishnah says you could separate as speaking lahachel, to speak where you're going ahead and feeding them right away. And the Mishnah Kedushim Mem Aleph, right? The Gemara in Kedushim Mem Aleph is speaking where you're putting it away, and therefore don't do it. It's really a basic question. That is, l'chayra, the pasuk says openly, you can't separate. It's not yours, right? So why would there be an nafkamina between? In other words, once I can't separate, I can't separate. The fact that I'm separating to allow them to eat is a steer to the pasuk. The pasuk says gamatem, right? Pasuk says gamatem. It's a very famous question. We're showing him as the kasha. One of the mahalchim is one idea that we've been used to, guys. The din of hefker, bezdin hefker. Bezdin is mafka the property, mafka the tefua, and therefore now they give the apotropis the yecholis. If it's lahachil to go ahead and feed, you can do it. Remember, it's the mechanism. You need a mechanism over here, whether it's lahachil. So hefker, bezdin hefker. In other words, shayim whether it's din of zachar lot mishlei the fun of al schia that he'll be zeichen it, that it should be his in order to go ahead and feed them. But you need a mechanism to overcome the fact that this is not atem, it's not yours. Okay, so just a little flavor for this year. Says the Gemara Vaita. But Tanya is a proof. Tanya is a proof, fellas, that lahachal to feed, you can go ahead and separate. Aputropin, termin, umaisrin, lahachav lo yaniach. That's your proof. Okay, that's all you need. The Gemara now is going to bring in the long-winded brisa derech agav this. But you brought the proof already. There's a chilik between feeding and storage. The apotropis can sell a behema, avodim. They can sell slaves, ushvachos, batim, sadas, ukramim. For what reason? Lahachil to again to go ahead and feed. Avalei laniach. Umoichlehem peris yenos shmanim v'salsos, fruits, wines, oils, flour. Lahachil. Avalei laniach. V'oislam lulav v'arava, that's a Hashana Rabbah, says the Marmashif. V'sukkah, v'tzitzis, v'chol davar sheyesh l'kitzvah. Anything that has a set amount of money, you can go ahead and help. V'suyes shofar, to go ahead and include shofar, it says Maramshif, right? That would also mean a shofar, l'chor the chiddush is you can be yaitz with somebody else. I don't know, right? Why do I need a shofar if I have Benji? Right? It's elamad, the chiddush is that what? That no, even though. Because why? Because it's a kitzvah. In other words, there's an X amount of money. You're buying a shofar one time. You're not going to go ahead. What we're worried about over here is the apotropis going ahead and using up the resources of the assignment. So once it's a davar kotzav, even though the chiddush is you don't even need the shofar, so you might think it's an expenditure that's unnecessary. Since it's a davar kotzav, you can go ahead and do it. But like I'm saying, for Torah, tefillin, mezuzah, all stam, chol davar sheish lekitzvah, lasoyim megillah. However, they ain't poskim aleim tzedakah. You can't go ahead and require them to go ahead and give tzedakah for them. Says Rashi, you know why? Ain't lo kitzvah. There's no end. Or every single moment that you can have an ani over there, and nimsu neschayim kolim that the nechasim will be what used up. So again, there's the concept right there of what of the kitzvah and even tzedakah, even as big a mitzvah as it is, the apotropos should not go ahead and give tzedakah for the aniyim. In addition, even though the Rambam calls it a mitzvah rabbah, nonetheless, because it's an ein davar shel kitzvah, to include the tenchuli avelim. What's tenchuli avelim is a little right. You think of nicham avelim, where's the expenditure over there? So the Yavitz quotes a Gemara in Kesubis Daf Chesam Beis. They used to provide food. We still do, right? We still provide food for avelim. Since again, this is davar shein lekitzur because they're available all the time. Right? My father had I found an ad in an old 1966 Jewish Observer. There was an ad for War Zone, and one of the things was we have condolence packages. Like providing, you don't see that condolence packages. Now we like to welcome my chavrusa, who, if you see a little water over there, my chavrusa is in Italy. And he wants to learn Torah, so he's in Italy, and he's in a real country. He's got the hat, he's got the look. There he is, Reb Shimon. Very good. You can hear Shimon. You can hear. Okay, hopefully you can hear. So we have a guy coming in from Italy, and
okay, camera's off.
Okay, great. Camera's off. Both from Italy, as long as you can hear. Great. Anyway. Shimon, we're up to Nun Beis and Aleph in the sugya of Yisayim, and we're 4 lines down where it gets wide. They can't go to court for the purpose of being Zaycha, or can't go to court for the purpose of what? Of losing. Says Gemara, to go to win am I loy. What it means is Lachav Almanas Liskais B'Nechsei Yisayim. In other words, if they go to court and they end up losing, they don't have to pay. You would think it's a good deal. get a field closer, sell a field that's farther away and buy one that's closer. The raw of illegal beyofer, sell a poor field and buy a new field. My time at the Dil Mishtatfe, who knows the mazel? Maybe those fields will be flooded, so don't do it. Right? Because the sadis is more stationary, avodim is more of the chance of a loss. The opposite way you could do. That's a good investment. To sell it and get a field. You can't even do that. My time, perhaps what? Perhaps this eved will not be mishkatas as shemi yatsa alav ira. Maybe the field, right? In other words, maybe the field will not be sheket next to you. On the surface, you think it's a good investment. Sell your eved, and you get the field. There's no raya. You don't know what's on the field. Maybe the field won't stay by you. Maybe they'll have people in ma'ara on the field, right? So again, leave the status quo. They can't free anyone. They can sell it to others. Others can free them. The if someone gives the Evid money, and he can give it directly to the apotropis. The apotropis doesn't have to sell it to somebody else. Because he's like selling it to the apotropis. Right? And
does the apotropis get any money for his services?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Okay. Now, again, if he's a paid, again, he's like a nice Yisachar, but maybe I know that he was appointed apotropis. But so when the assignment get older, and the apotropis finishes his job, then he has to make a cheshbon on all the haknasas, all the business dealings he did over here during that period of time, and then he has to swear to them that he has nothing left over from this chassim. So that's what it means over here. It's sarech, and that says in the end over here that with sarech he has to go ahead and make a cheshbon in the end. He has to make a cheshbon in the end. But sarech chashvi man bachreina. If Shimon Gamliel Leimer, ain't it sarech? You don't have to. You don't appoint a woman or a slave or a cotton as an apotropis. In minum avi yisaimim or just biyadai. And if the father of the yasam put a woman is not used to going ahead and dealing with these issues. Avodim are not reliable, and katanim are not ben bas. Who apotropis that? So it's a few mices. Who apotropis? There was the apotropis the have. It was in the area of Meya. Now become Masrin Arasa, he would go ahead, he would buy land, the Slavan Avdi and sell Avodim, by Shafkir Meya didn't allow him. So Achle Bechelme, he had a dream, Anila Haris, and the dream said, I want it to be or to be broken, or we have a girsa, right? Va'ata libnais. In other words, afilu hachi lo yashech. Amar, okay, here's what happened over here. I saw two pshatim. One is that based upon the Marshal, he says he's selling the land. We saw above, you're not supposed to sell land and buy avodim, and he's doing this, right? He's doing this. Why would Hashem make him do this? Is because this land came into this man either through ribis, through gazela, through some scheme. In other words, not a reliable way. So what does Hashem want to do? He wants to take it out of his rishus. And what do you, Rabbi Meir, want to say? You want to keep it there, right? Or pshat is, Hashem, for whatever reason, wants these Yisraelim to fall down in their property value. And therefore he had this dream. Anila Harais, my job is to go ahead and bring these people down, and you want to build it up. Nonetheless, Rabbi Meir did not listen because he says in the Chalamis we don't listen to Chalamis. Hanubei traded with these two people, the Igrib whose son called Beishamshi. Every Arab Shabbos they would fight. Avi Kamansi Badadi. Iklib Rabbi Meir lahasam. Rabbi Meir showed up there. Akvinu Tilsa Beishamshi. He waited there for three Erev Shabbos in a row, and that created a chazaka. Ad Avilu Shalmash until there was shalom between them. Shami the Ka'amar, he heard that the son said by woe after a male who got from me basically. In other words, woe that we took what Rabbi out of this house, that they took him out of it. You have to see what the tzushtel is for this in the Gemara. Ayin Chasam Seifa. Who are Petropis to have Yeshuvah of Yeshua ben Levi? There was not Petropis that was in the area of Yeshua ben Levi. That would come Masvin Ara Vasav Ture. He would sell land and he'd buy oxen. So you think you're not allowed to do that? Abraisa said you shouldn't do that. Why would he allow to sell land and buy oxen? Because Yeshua ben Levi held like the Tanya Rabbi Yossi. The Tanya Rabbi Yossi. I never called my wife. And my ox. El Ishti Basi, I called my wife my house, right? Rashi says because she's the Akeres Abayis and everything gets through to the house. Ulishari Sadeh, and I called my shar my field. If you think, guys, a shar, he goes ahead, he works the field, he furrows the field, he fertilizes the field. So he's called the field. So therefore he said it's okay to sell a piece of land to buy a shar. Hanu Yasmi Davi Smichi Gavi Ahi Sapsa. It was the Yisraelim that they were living by this elderly woman. And we saw above that even a self-appointed apotropis, right, works. Havile Turasa, they had a cow. Shakli, she took the cow, this is Vinta Nalayu, and she sold it. Also, Kroy from the Commander of Nachman, Amrulay, Maya Vidite, the Zavna, Amalahu, Yisraim Shasamko, it's about a bias Tanan. She's allowed to. It got more expensive. They lost money, like Keach, a Yaka. Says the Gemara, but Yaka b'shus l'keach Yaka. Ivlei Nikiti Dami. She didn't take any money. Amalahu and Cain. In other words, we know as a Hakdama, we know that there's a kinyan called Mashicha, and everything's done with Mashicha. So right now they said, well, she was Mashach, they were Mashachit, but they didn't give money. So since it went up, right? Reb Nachman thought it was in Rishus l'keach went up. Nachman wants to tie it now. Since they didn't give kesef, even though they did Mashicha, we're going to look for the good of the Yisraelim and say kesef is kaina. Okay, important. Let's get this guy's correct. Outside, we know we're familiar with the parsha of Kinyanim throughout Shas, and if I'd ask you what's the kinyan of the predominant kinyan of metalton, you'd say, well, I know there's something called Mashicha, there's something called Masira, there's something called Adba, there's something called Dalaramis, there's something called my Mitshloshtin, like we had, there's different kinyanim. But Mashicha is a very common kinyan. Really, if you think about it, Kirsh is king. Kirsh is king. But there's the problem. Midoraisa, Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that Kesef is kaina. But if I give you Kesef and I don't take possession of what I bought from you, if something happens in the middle of the night, be it a robber, or be it a fire, the person is going to say, big spritz, I got my money ready, it's not mine, I'll let it go. So the Rabbana made a takana like Rabbi Yochanan, that Kesef is not kaina until Mashicha, and it leaves the rishus of the Meicher. Rabbi Shloker is of the opinion that even the Rabbanan Kesef is not kaina. That that any metaltalin has to be midaraisa is Mashicha. The bottom line is we have to do an act of Mashicha. However, even if you hold that Kesef doesn't work, be it midaraisa or midarabanan, by Hegdish it does work. By Hegdish it says, "Inasana Kesef v'kamlei." He'll give Kesef and he'll come into his rishus. And therefore, the only Mashicha the only kinyan that works by Hegdish is Kesef. Says Rav Chaniloi, the name of Rav Shmuel, beautifully. Over here, we're going to treat the Yisraelim like what? We're going to treat them like what? Like Hegdish. And therefore, despite the fact that the Lekeach possesses, they did Mashicha on the Hara, since they didn't give Kesef yet, it'll be like Hegdish. Just like Hegdish is only with Kesef, Hu Adin, when it's for the betterment of the Yisraelim, it's only with Kesef. And therefore, says Rab Nachman, you could take it back and they'll get the money. That's the Chiddush over here. Continues the Gemara. Again, this, what I just mentioned, guys, is going to be important in the coming sugya. Chamri the Ravna, I thought it was some people said Chamorim, I thought it was wine. Ukva, the Rabbanon Ukva, Yasmei Mashchuha, Ba'arba, Arba, V'yaka, become B'shisha Shisa. So What happened was they went ahead. they went ahead and they did Mashicha on this chamar, or this yayin, he says, right? On this yayin, and the lakuchas, when they did Mashicha, it was worth 4 dinarim. But Yaakov become Shisha, and then it went up in price. It went up to 6. Okay. Also, Kamei Rav Nachman, they want.
Have a question? Just looking at this Gemara, just to understand, the Yisomim took Mashicha. Does the Apitropis have to take the Mashicha, or the Yisomim can take the Mashicha? Was Lav Dafka? When there's a
no. It's the Apitropis, whoever did it doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference. No, but the Chayra, we're dealing with Yisomim in the Sugya, we're dealing with Apitropis doing it. Okay.
Okay.
So now it goes up to 6. Asla Kamei Rav Nachman. They came in front of Rav Nachman and they wanted to know, right? What's the din? So Amalahu, Haim Rav Chani Loi Bari Loi, Dom Rav Kinoi Bari Idi Omer Shmuel, Nichse Yisayim Hari Henke Hegdish, Loi Mikni El Bekaspa. And since the Yisayim didn't get the Kesef yet, and the Kenyan's not Chal, Memela, it went up to 6 in the Rishus of the Yisayim, and it belongs to them. Okay, so now you would think, fellas, based upon Rabbi Chani Loi's din, we'll always look for the good of the Yisayim. So where it's good to say you need Kesef, as a Kenyan, we'll say Kesef. Where it's good to say Mashicha, we'll say Mashicha. But as we'll see in the following Gemara, that's not necessarily true. We're going to have a few scenarios, and we're going to see the scenarios, exactly how they work out. Okay, so guys, in the scenarios, let's 2 things. Who is the moicher? Who's the lekeach? And what kinyan is being done? Good. Who's the moicher? Who's the lekeach? You can have the Yisayim as the sellers or the buyers. You can have the kinyan either being Mashicha or Kesef. Those are the variables. Says the Gemara. Moshech Peri Miyasme. So they did Mashicha, the Peris from the Yasme. So who's the moicher, guys? The Yisayim are the moicher. And the lekeach did Mashicha. Good. Yaker, it went up in price. So now, is it advantageous to say Rabbi Chani Loi's din in this case, where they only did Mashicha, and now it'll be upgraded in the Rishus of the lekeach, correct? So Hainu the Rabbi Chani Loi. That's the case of Rabbi Chani Loi Bar Idi. Then that's the case that in this case, where it went up in price, then we'll say the Kinyan Mashicha does not work, the Kinyan Kesef does work. Fellas, at the end of the Sugya, this will be the only case that holds true. But Nun Beis and Beis Avi at the bottom, about 5 lines up. I'll just bring you into the Sugya. We have the Kinyan of Mashicha or Kesef. You usually paskin that Kesef's not kaina. By Hegdish we paskin Hegdish is by Hegdish we paskin Kesef is kaina. By Yisayim will paskin that favorably that Kesef's kaina. So in this case over here, where the lekeach from the Yisayim went ahead did only Mashicha, which usually is kaina. Over here, since to say it's not kaina is to the betterment of the Yisayim because they didn't give Kesef yet, we'll treat it like Hegdish, and therefore the produce that went up in price will be in the rishus of the Yisayim. Now, what about this case? Zoil, it went down in price. Now it went down in price, and now, so it's to the advantage of the guys. It's to the advantage of the assignment to say, oh, Mashicha's kaina. It went down in your rishus, right? Over here, it'll be advantageous to say Mashicha went down in price. Right? We'll say that what? That the lo yehei hedyet chama mehegdish. Imshalu peri liyasmei. The Yisayim went ahead and did Mashicha. The Epitropis did Mashicha for the Yisayim. A Yaker went up in price. Lo yehei koyach hedyet chama mehegdish. and therefore it goes up in the value, it goes up in the rishus of the Yisayim. Zoil Savamina Hainu Rab Chanad. Law, if it went down in price, no, it's not claiming the kesef. Amalei Rav Shisha Brei Ravidi. Hara he lididhu. It's bid for that case. If you say it goes down in price, why that you acquire kesef? The zin of the mitzrachi the peri. Maybe they'll need payris, but leka the yavlahu, and no one's going to give to them adiyav zuzay until you give zuzin, until you give money. So in that scenario where it went down in price, and you want to say that the deal is off because they didn't give money, that's not advantageous for so this deal, we're going to say it is a good deal. Yob Yasmi Zuzay, what happens to the Zuzim? They give money. They don't, the Yisayim are the Moicher, they give money, a peri, and Zul, it goes down in price. So we want the Kenyan to be bottled. Lo yeh koyach heged chama min hegdesh. Eyaka, if it got better, savmina haimed rav chamiloi. So therefore, if it went up in price, we should say that what? That the Kenyan doesn't work. Amul Rav Shisha Beit Avidi, no, harahu, he lididhu. It's bad in that case for them. Why? Because the us in the Meimelahu, Nisru Chitin and Baaliyah. They're going to say, oh, you gave kesef and you need Mashiach, guess what? So Yobu Zuzay asked me, what happens if the Yisayim are the Moicher and he gives money, a peri, a yaket went up in price. We say it's a good deal. Zul goes down in price, that is in Rishus of the Yisayim. Right? That's Rishus the Lekeach. Rav Shisha Brei Davidi, no, harahu, lididhu. The Zimni, the Matzri, say they're going to need money. The leka the Yavlahu are the Yavlahu payri, and no one's going to give it until they give the payris. So the bottom line is we're going through this whole sugya. We have the raw. The only case that's going to work that we say that it's for the betterment of the Yisayim is the Yisayim are the Meichrim. They're going to sell, and the guy's going to do Mashiach. He's going to sell. The guy's going to do Mashiach. Not going to be kesef. It goes up in price. Then we could say that you need to give kesef. That's the only way. The other three scenarios, it can be not for the betterment of the Yisraelim, and therefore we say it doesn't work. So the only case would work is where they're the Meichrim, and there was Mashiach done, but not given kesef. That's the case. It says the Gemara Vaita. Rav Ashi, another Rav Kahana Chasmina Nashtora the Ime the Ziri. Rav Ashi and Rav Kahana, they signed the star of Ime Zira. Yasama, Masvin Arul Karga, and she went ahead and she sold land to pay off the head tax. Now, usually to maximize your amount of money that you get is you want to go ahead and publicize it. And Sunday with cruise, you'd have a call out for 30 days. This is for sale. This is for sale. But in this case, when she was forced to sell it, you needed the money dachuf. Says the man, they said we signed on this, and nonetheless they sold it without achrosasa. The amrnadoi, the karga for paying off the head tax, and for the needs of food right away, ulakfura and to bury, is amnina b'lo achrosasa. Since you need liquid cash at the moment, right? You can't afford to dilly dally around until you maximize the best price, and therefore you'd sell it without achrosasa. Amram Tzavaot, that's his name. Apatropa di Asmehave. He was an apotropis. Asa kroivim lekamed Rav Nachman. They came in front of Rav Nachman. Amri luhu kalavish umachsem yasme. So these kroivim said, you know what? This guy is taking from the till. He's dressing like like the tuxedos. He looks so nice. And where's he getting the money from? He's not going to grow Shaya. He's not going to LBT. He's not going to Barney's. He's going to Saks. He's going to Bloomingdale's. He looks great. And where's he taking money from? He's taking money from them.
LBC.
LBC. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you for the correction, Harold. Amaluhu ki heichi dilishtamo mili. Right? Pirish. Rav Nachman told him it's good that he looks well, because since he has to be oisik with them, his appearance makes a difference. He's oisik for them, right? So to go and deal any business dealing, a well-dressed man, right? He's got his power tie on, right? It looks well. They then came with the tainat of Nachman that ka'achel b'shasi midithu v'loy omud. This guy, we don't appear that he's a rich guy. Omud means we Rashi says, well, usually Who's a rich guy? Someone you oimid that you evaluate as a rich guy. Everyone's busy with other people's money. You're a rich guy. How much money does he have? Rashi says it. Anyway, and he's eating good. He's eating the good stuff. And l'chari must be taken from the till. And for the Gemara, Rabbi Nachman said, no, perhaps he won the lottery. Perhaps he found some money. Mafsid. Now they came with a taina. He's being mafsid the properties. The mafsid. Bring me a raya that he's being mafsid. And I'll remove him. The mafsid, if it apotropis, the mafsid misalkina lay. Did my apotropis the mafsid? Rafuna amarav misalkina lay. There have shila amaloi misalkina lay. Hilchasim misalkina lay. So you bring a proof that he's mafsid, and I'll remove him. Now we said in the Mishnah, the first one was the case of the self-appointed apotropis, and the other one is with the father or bezdin. And we have machloikas between the Tanakama and Reb Abishal, who makes who swear. Like the Tanakama, the father doesn't swear, and the appointed by bezdin does. Like the Abishal, it's the opposite. The father, but appointed by the father swears, and the one appointed by bezdin doesn't swear. Apotropis. Did I say that correctly? Yeah, no, he said the opposite. I'm sorry, the opposite. The opposite. Okay. According to the father doesn't swear and Bezdin does swear. According to Abishol, the father doesn't swear and Bezdin does swear. Chilafai Bezdin does swear, right? Okay. Says the Gemara. We know Bezdin lo yishava. Apotropis shemino obviously yishava. My timer. Ilav this lehanomine lehavili apotropis and mishum shvua lo yasilim luye. In other words, why do we say appointed by? The reason why he's appointed is because obviously he must really have a very close relationship with this guy. So what are we worried about? If we place a shvu on the need for a shvu on the apotropis, the guy is going to refuse the job. But since you have a relationship with the guy, and the guy says, "Listen, I'm not long for this world anymore. Please do me a solid and take care of my kids," right? The guy's going to do it, right? And so therefore, you'll have to make a shvu. If not for the fact they had a relationship. Right, so the shvu is not going to be a deterrent to go ahead and accepting the job. However, mineu bezdin lo yishavar, because milsabahamu David bezdin lebeidina. Bezdin shows up at his house, says, "Guess what? I got a job for you. You don't want that job. So why didn't you want the job? Because you're going to have to swear in the end." He goes, "Okay, you won't have to swear." So therefore, the rami shua asilam nuye. Again, so the Tanakama. What we're worried about is the shvua going ahead and being a deterrent to a person accepting the job. If it was a bezdin, it was a person he had a relationship with this guy, he had a relationship with this fellow, and therefore he's going to take the job, then the shvua is not going to be a deterrent for taking the job. But bezdin was just pointing the guy and something he wants. If you're going to give a shvua, he won't take it. That's the Tanakama. Abishol says the opposite. Abishol oy mechilef hadvarim. In other words, by the father, no shvua. And by bezdin, yeshua, right? My timer by the father, yeshua. My timer mineu bezdin yeshava. You do swear. By he I know the kodnafik le koile the inshim himna who with the samach le beidina shum shvua le yasilam loye. All of a sudden, bezdin shows up at your house and says, "You know what? I got these Yisayim. They need someone to take care of them. I'm looking for an honest guy. I'm looking for a guy who has an impeccable reputation. Are you willing to take that job?" The guy says, "Wow, Bezdin puts their trust in me. But be aware you're going to have to make a shvu in the end. I don't care. Bezdin, I'm a chashuv guy. Bezdin's going ahead and being samech upon me. So therefore, the shvu in the end is not a deterrent. Therefore, Abishal says by Bezdin, you in fact would make a shvu. What about the father? But you don't swear because milsa ba'amud avid ladadi. Maybe they were just friendly, but not so friendly that he would want to do this job. So it's a different psychological sfaris. Again, the bottom line to understanding the Gemara is the shvur going to be a deterrent for the person taking the job or not? Right? Like the Tanakama, by the father, it's not. By the bezdin, it is. Like Abishol, by the father, it is, and by the bezdin, it's not. Rav Nachman Amishmuel Hilchasuk Abishol the Hilchas like Abishol. Tanya Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer Zev Zeh Yeshava. Both of them have to swear. A third opinion, guys. Side appointed by the apotropos appointed by the father. Side the apotropos appointed by the apotropos appointed by Bezdin. They have to swear. The hilchos v'halacha kidvarav, and the halacha is like him. So you have conflicting halachas. You just said the halacha is like Abba Shaul, and now you're saying the halacha is like Lesman Yaakov. We'll see in a second. Hani Rav Tachlifa bar Ma'arav Kamei Rav Mavo. Right? He said he learned the following. Right? Apotropis shemineu avi yisayim yishava, like the Rabbanan. If Neshu Kenoise Sacha. So he got money from the father. This is what Heshi, I addressed Heshi earlier. Heshi said that is he a paid guy? So like this first teretz, he's a paid guy. And therefore he's a nice Sachar. And therefore he's going to swear, like a nice Sachar swears. Amalei Ravo told Rav Tachlifa, at Isi Kava v'Kaivale, right? You bring a person a schar, a kava tfua, and you measure it out. Is it so clear to you that he took the job for this? In other words, it's a minimal amount. El Ema, don't say he is an Isai Sacha, but it's like I answered Heshi, if Neshu can Isai Sacha. Vada, he's makabel something from this. He has some enough, but not necessarily a monetary enough. It could be a enough that the father placed his trust in him. Okay, so Heshi, that would answer your kasha. It's not like this. Now, what do you do over here? We said the halacha is like Abba Shaul, that Bezdin swears and the father doesn't swear. Then you have the halacha like Rezim and Yaakov that they both swear. So we know there's a rule in Shas. Hilchas Rezim and Yaakov kavinaki. He doesn't appear too often, but where he does, the halacha is like him. So look at Taisus for a second. Halacha Abba Shaul, Amr Ben Tam, the Chain halacha, Afag of the Kaimelon, the Mishnah Rezim and Yaakov kavinaki. Where Brisa K'Toninami the Chain halacha kivarav. So Taisus is asking Akasha. Ein lamidam halacha mipi Talmud. You don't go ahead and pass it from the Gemara. You don't pass it on the Gemara. When the Gemara says halacha kivarav, you don't pass it that way. And then he brings proof. So what do you do? I Mishnah Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov Kavanaki. So we spoke out of Mishnah Melech more than once. When Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov was in the Mishnah, Mishnah's Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov Kavanaki. Guys, what is it over here? Tanya. It's a brisa. Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov in there. When it's a brisa, we don't apply that rule of Mishnah's Rabbi because it's not a Mishnah. It's only a brisa. I wish everyone a great Shabbos. Thank you for listening. Motzei Shabbos will be broadcasting from Haverstraw. Probably at 10 o'clock, the same time. I'll post.
Enjoy.
Is Travis in the same time zone as New York?
Are you upstate?
Yes.
Okay, then it'll be in your time zone.
Excellent. Thank you, Rabbi. Good Shabbos.